No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the morning dump, a constant reminder to my underclass fans that this might actually be the last one that I send out to the underclass YouTube. So just letting you know, this was kind of like your little, public service announcement these past couple days coming in on this YouTube. But going forward, I think the move will be when I'm hosting it, it will go out on my YouTube, my Rumble, my Twitter, and then I believe Austin. I think he is going to be running it tomorrow. I don't know if he has his Rumble up and running yet. If it is, then it will go out to. I bet you it probably won't. Even if his Rumble is set up, it probably wouldn't be the smartest idea to start off. He should probably debut his Rumble on the channel. That way you guys know of it, and then the next time. But either way, probably after this week, I already saw when I was setting up the stream today that he has it set up. He already has it linked. So I think he may have it set up soon. So point being is I think next week we're probably going to be to where these just go completely separate platforms. Now days when we do them together, we'll set them out to all of our separate platforms. But just letting you guys know. So that's how you can keep up with both of them. And also, with this, the way it's working is when I'm not doing it, he's doing it. So, generally at least Monday through Friday. Maybe not the weekend. Maybe in the future we'll get to where we're covering weekends as well. Yeah. Someone's saying Jose's looking fuzzy. What do you mean by fuzzy? Like bad reception? Or you just mean my hair is looking a little, or are you talking about, you're talking about my facial hair. Got it. Yeah, okay. Well, I give you guys a public service announcement. I also do want to let you guys know today's probably going to be a little bit shorter, probably in the realm of an hour. I got a lot of shit I got to do today. So we figured we'd, but I did want to at least pop in and talk to you guys, let you guys know what's going on, since especially since this week it will be a wrap so far as the way the format or where we're distributing this to. So just so you guys are aware of what's going on, just doing a little bit of the old paying the bills. Well, speaking of, actually, now that I mentioned, I almost forgot to do this. But I guess while we wait for more people to get in here, while we're just chilling, waiting for y'all, I do want to remind you guys that today's episode was brought to you by Nadeau Shave Co. If you're tired of why am I having such a tongue twister? If you're tired of that razor burn, irritation, and ingrown hairs that come from those deep penetrating multi-blade cartridges, then this is the way to go. You can shave just like your grandpa used to, whether you're shaving your whole face or edging up your beard. The single blades provide a barber grade shave for a fraction of the price. The standard issue includes one traditional safety razor and a box of 100 stainless steel razor blades. Now look at that fucking safety razor. If you're watching some video, thing's fucking pretty nifty, and it's cool. It's fun to play with. Good little fidget spinner type thing. But this is about $75. $75 for 100 of those razors. For one of those razors that will last for forever. It's kind of like a no-brainer. But now if you're someone who shaves on the regular, that might not cover it for you. If you're someone who shaves just like, I guess, every other day or less, it definitely will cover you, if not way longer. Now, if you're someone who shaves on every single day, Quarter Shave Club, that's the way to go. That'll put you about 25 cents per replacement blade. Also want to remind you guys that he's got shave soaps. He's got 3-in-1 body, hair, and face soaps. Stuff smells great, feels great, good stuff. It's a COVID mandate refusing company. This company was born out of refusing the mandate. Supports your values, supports the show. It's a cheaper product. It's a better product. It's kind of a no-brainer. So, if you're a dude and you shave, go to negotiaveco.com, or else you're just an idiot, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. You like paying more for an inferior product from people who hate you and want you dead. So that's just stupid. So go to negotiateco.com and use Jose for 10% off your entire order. All right, let's go ahead and get back into the show. Let's check in with the chat, see what y'all had to say before we get into it. Y'all are chattering in there today. Got LA fire time. I will give you a little bit of a heads up. I do have I'm going to cover the fire stuff, but really it's just very basic. I don't have any juicy theories for you yet, or any thoughts or any deep theory in general about this or that. I mean, I guess you could probably honestly refer to, so far as theory-wise, my Amy Lepore episode we did a while ago in response to the hurricanes, because it's kind of the same idea. It's just the idea of emergency management, So I did an emergency management episode not too long ago, so that is something you're listening in on that side of things, aside from just conspiracy theories. We did talk about that quite a bit. I don't remember what episode that was, but type in Amy Lepore, look for that on my episode. On this, wasn't too long ago. It was like a few months ago. That would cover this, but we will talk about it. Obviously, it's a thing that's happening. But I'm letting you guys know. Maybe Austin will have more thoughts on it. It's more his area, anyways. He's more over. I believe he's in Cali. I don't think he's near the fires. He hasn't said anything to me. But he might have more on the topic. I know I've seen little seedlings of conspiracy stuff. No, I don't know what to really make of any of it. I mean, let's be real. It's California. It catches on fire. I mean, it's the same idea as kind of trying to make a conspiracy out of the hurricane, which we did last time around, but hurricanes happen, in Florida. So, you guys ever dump in the shower and toss it across the room to the toilet bowl? Yeah, that's what everyone does. Duh. Why does every male reporter from California speak with a lisp? Why? What's the fucking problem with that? You got an issue with that, huh? You got an issue with that, F-Web? I'm just kidding. Obviously, the joke being I have a little bit of a lisp. Everyone's saying hi. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button wherever you are watching. So that helps me out. Good morning in the chat from the doctor. Good morning, doctor. I don't know you from Arcane Arsenals. What's up, guys? Everyone's saying hi. Yeah, edge me, Jose, UNG. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Let's get, like I said, we're trying to keep this kind of condensed today. Keep it a little bit shorter. But I guess let's just kind of go through some general news real quick. As I mentioned, we do have fires. I don't remember who tagged me in this. I usually try to have the up when I bring it up. That way you guys can just a little subtle reminder that it's you guys that make the magic happen. You guys who notify me of these different things you want me to cover. I may not even have talked about the fire stuff really, because I don't really have anything to say about it. But at the very least, you get a mention just because of you guys. So one of you guys tagged me in this. I don't think there's anything too particularly. I mean, I looked at it. It looks just kind of a general boilerplate letting you know what's going on. But either way, this is from Charlie Kirk. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass tells residents that if they need emergency help or shelter, it can be found at URL. He says, what? This is a perfect picture of the incredible levels of incompetence ravaging Los Angeles right now. So we do have crazy fires, for those who aren't aware, as I've kind of been implying. So crazy fires over in that area, wild shit. Yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy videos out there. There's one with one guy that was in his house, and you could see basically all the windows, just almost like he was consumed by fire, at all edges, and just chilling in his house as if literally was that meme of the dog drinking the coffee with the house on fire. That's what he was. So I mean, there's some crazy stuff. I don't know what to make of it. Austin will be in tomorrow. Over his channel and maybe on mine probably as well, but obviously make sure you guys are following both our channels, and you will be getting the show every day at 10 pretty much, aside from maybe weekends. But either way, he might have some more thoughts on this. But either way, just kind of funny, the mayor reads URL as opposed to I guess the URL, or maybe someone wrote URL on the teleprompter. I don't know what the deal is, but let's watch this goof.
Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this. Through the heroism of our firefighters, the vigilance.
All right, good old URL. Make sure to go check that out. That's where you can get all the up-to-date information over at URL. Don't toss the dump, smush it down the tub drain. Yeah, we're going to keep talking about poop in the chat. I got it. Everyone's talking. Waffle stomps. That's what that's called, if you guys were curious. All right, cool. You guys are getting quite chatty in the chat. That's good. Amongst each other, it makes it harder for me to decipher what's worthwhile even bringing up. But hey, whatever. I'm glad you guys are having fun in the chat. I'm seeing the average price of houses burning in Palisades is well under 3 million. Yeah, it seems that way. Still probably well over 1 million. So yeah. Alan's saying they just read the prompter. That don't their job at all. So yeah, I know it is what it is. You guys didn't hear that because I had it muted, but like something just went like right in my house. So if you saw me look, that's what that was. All right, let's what else we got? We got this. This is from Arcane Arsenals, one of you guys. This is here we go. Here's another video. This is mysterious explosions in the clouds spotted over South Central LA. Was it an experiment or phenomena? Oh, I guess this is another thing. Probably they're alluding and tagged into the, tied into the thing, into the, God, I'm such a brain fart, into the fire story. It says, says like a turbo white phosphorus from Jackstraw. All right, go ahead and watch this. I mean, for the audio people, I'm sorry. You're probably not going to get much value out of this, but maybe you can get some of the listening. I mean, that's wild. I mean, they say this is South Central LA. No, obviously, this is just some Instagram video. I have no idea if this is legit. This could be, some sort of, AI something or other, After Effects. I'm not sure. But either way, I don't know. I mean, that would be crazy. You do hear about cloud seeding. Are they cloud seeding literal fucking phosphorus into the clouds? So that way, that's just kind of one of those things that's on a hair trigger that when lightning goes off, boom. And then now you get all these fires. I don't know. Interesting idea. I have no idea, but this is something you tagged. This is from Arcane Arsenal. Let's go give him a follow. All right, let's pop in the chat. Could be BS. Looks cool. That's what he's saying over. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at with that. Could be BS. Looks cool. It kind of looked like bullshit. It really did. All right, All right, I have you guys saw on this the front here. We'll go ahead and get into, I guess, one of the main topics of the day. It says the CyberTruck Manifesto is legit. So, all right, let's go ahead and bring up this thread. Second, share screen. Hey, Ryan. Now, this Ryan Macbeth fella, which if any of you guys have been paying attention to the story, you've probably heard this guy or around. He's kind of, I mean, it seems like a nice enough guy. He's kind of seems a little bit blue-pilled to me, but like in a maybe center-left kind of way is the impression I've got. From the little bit I've approached some of his information through all of this, because I have seen some of his videos because, he's been coming up in all this stuff. He kind of looks, it's hard not to look at him and think of some sort of like almost comical sitcom fat guy animated character, or like I don't know. It seems like an archetypical character you would see in like a 90s, like not the dad character, but like the dad's friend character, if that makes sense. I don't know. Just something about him just seems familiar. Seems odd that he's kind of in this Intel bro community, but I guess he's kind of the other side of the Intel bro community, because you have like the operator community side of it, which is like the cool dudes, and then you have these guys, which are the fucking nerds. The nerd side of it. So that's what he's got a channel. He's got like something like well over 1 million followers, or not. YouTube channels what I'm talking about. On Twitter he's just got like 60K or whatever. But point being, he's a guy that's come up a lot in this because he's kind of like tracked a lot of this nerd stuff. He initially, right off the bat, was one of the first people to call shenanigans. And in this video here, we're not going to watch this 13-minute video, obviously. I watched this morning. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're about to go, he leaves a thread on this, so we're going to go through that. So you'll kind of get a lot of it. I mean, there obviously I would recommend you guys check out this video. There's more to be had in here. They kind of go through the nerd methodology of how they track some of this stuff. But essentially, here's a tweet. It says, from Ryan McBeth, back on January 4th, 2025, I made a video where I called Samasaur, that's a shoe guy, Shoemate, Sam Shoemate. He's the guy who came to Sean Ryan with the alleged email from Matthew Livelsberger, I believe is his name. And Sean Ryan liars. He said, I was wrong. And Sean Ryan is the guy that it was on his podcast. He had a huge podcast. He's like kind of like the name when it comes to vet bro operator types, like, podcasts. He is the guy. He literally essentially interviews whistleblowers, whether it's the UFO kind or whatever. He kind of glows a little bit. I mean, it's hard not to point that out. But anyways, I was wrong, and I apologize for that. Since then, new information has come to light, including a deleted Facebook account and a Yelp review. So in this video, he kind of goes into why he was wrong. He was one of the first people off the bat that jumped at that he didn't believe it was. I think he might have been the one who pointed to the stuff maybe it was yesterday, I believe, when we talked about this. I pointed out the squiggly, like the spell checks and then the margins that you could see, like stuff that, and then I guess later they explained that as like, no, that's because we had to transcribe it into another document or whatever, and in order to what's the word I'm looking for? In order to redact people's names, which I don't know, seems a weird way to do it. Seems like there probably would have been an easier way to do that, but I don't know, whatever. That's the method they chose to use. So it kind of made that point a little bit moot. And I guess he did some nerd digging on his own, or other people did. And I guess it looks like there's more to suggest that actually this manifesto email there's more to indicate it's legit, because we talked about this the other day. There's this manifesto. I'm not going to go into the content of the manifesto because we literally read that, I believe, yesterday. I think it was yesterday we read it. But in that manifesto, I lost my train of thought. The veracity of the manifesto is the point I was getting at. Like whether it's legit. This guy kind of off the bat initially said it wasn't. We're going to get into that, digging more. I initially was very, very, very skeptical. I still am. But we're going to go into kind of some of the stuff that seems to indicate that this is, and when I say legit, I mean that this did come from Matthew Livelsberger's personal accounts, is what it means. Now, does that mean he sent this or whatever? And I will say this does kind of seem to, at the very least, exonerate, I guess, maybe. I don't even know if that's a word really even needed here. Sean Ryan and then Sam Shoemate, because at the very least it looks like that they were given info that they found to be legit and they passed it on. Now, so there's nothing to implicate that even if this is bullshit, that they were in the know. So, I mean, that doesn't, now I kind of accidentally went in a little bit of a rabbit hole earlier, almost going into how Sean kind of glows. I still think he glows. I still think people are right to be suspicious of anything that comes out of him. And I get it. And to some extent, I almost kind of sympathize with the plight of someone who does come from like an operator, intel, whatever background, and then tries to go into something like this. It's that, now it's like you're kind of fed coded or whatever. And it's like, so there's literally nothing you can do is kind of the point. There's really not much you can do to fight this. Cause it is like kind of an unprovable kind of thing, or I guess it is provable, but it's like, you're not going to likely, like the chances that tomorrow something comes out that's like, yep, Sean Ryan's still fed, not very likely. So it is kind of like chasing phantoms, but it's a pattern recognition thing, and it is just a matter of like, I'm sorry, I'm not retarded. I don't, like, if there is an individual who comes from these entities that I basically see as the enemy, and they're kind of sort of position themselves as the cool guy now, it's like, but you completely were like the deepest of deep in the wool of that, what that is, the enemy. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm someone who's prior military. I was active duty military for like 11 years, but I was like an aircraft mechanic. I wasn't a spook. Like, and even then, to some extent, I get people being skeptical and being like, especially in the area that I hang out in, these type of conspiracy world, I'd be like, oh, this guy's probably military. But as soon as you're like, yeah, but he was like, he was, mechanic. I guess you can't prove it. I guess unless I ever like showed my DD-214, I guess no one could really prove it. But point being is it's just a matter if I came out of the intel community, was openly being like I came out of the intel community, his literal header, you can see here, former Navy SEAL / CIA contractor. It's like, it's not something he's hiding from. If anything, it's like, he's like, cool, hell yeah, cool dude. Like if anything, it's like, yeah, I did that stuff and it's cool. Like, that is the vibe you're getting. There's no like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, they might be like, I disagree with it, but even then they still are, they're still kind of glorifying what that is. So it's like, and they don't even necessarily disagree with the concept of like the CIA and what they're doing essentially. But they just kind of will quibble around the edges of like, well, we shouldn't have done this operation or that operation. To be wrong, I guess I'm like kind of I don't watch Sean Ryan's show, so who knows? Maybe he's super like anti-CIA or whatever. Just everything I've seen is that he's not really, hiding from that label. It's just a matter of that I'm going to struggle to trust someone that comes from there. And honestly, I think you're kind of not really a very deep thinker, really, if you are someone who doesn't see an individual like this and go, if anything, I'm going to very strongly put my thumb on the scale against whatever this guy says when I'm deciphering, things. Like essentially the idea of like, I'm actively going to distrust you, essentially. No, I'm going to go with it with the logic of like, I know I can't prove it, and to be open with the idea of I could be wrong, but it's also like, I don't know, I'm not retarded. So it's like, and even so, even if he was completely unaware of this, and so was Shu, and let's say this is completely some fed op, then it's still like, and he wasn't aware, that doesn't change anything. They still would, it still would make sense. We've talked about these before. If you had ops to have levels of knowledge. So the idea being is like, let's say this is op, because there is an angle that like, we'll get into this in a second, that where it might be completely like just some vet on the edge, but let's say this is an op, like it would make sense to route it through these individuals, but not brief them on every little bit of it or anything at all. Because let's say, for example, Sam Shoemate, whatever you want to call him, and Sean Ryan are both still active, let's say, for example, they're still active fucking assets for the U.S. government. Why would the U.S. government was completely like a sham email, they're trying to work some sort of op or whatever. It would make more sense for them still to feed this information to Sean and Shu without, his thing says Shu in there, but it's weird because I think of Shu and head, Sam Shoemate. Point being is, with the, even if it is an op, they're God, what was I getting at? I totally lost my train of thought because it's a stupid fucking name. Even if it isn't, it would make more sense for them just not to tell them. Like, there's no real need for it. If you can get them to distribute this information without telling them, and let's be real, let's say they were active, then they would probably like stuff like this. They might just kind of already just kind of be like, I think maybe this is that. And they just kind of know. Like this, it's almost like this. They see little indicators. They're like, I think maybe I should go with this. So, point being is it's like, it would make more sense if they're able to, if there was some sort of op to have your distributive agents like these guys, the guys who get this stuff out, it makes sense to try to give them as little information as absolutely possible. So if they're just willing to just kind of run with whatever story because it kind of, say with Sean Ryan, he's like, it comes from the Shu guy. And let's say he's able to verify him as some sort of other analyst. So now he's like, he's an intel guy, I trust him. And then, I don't know. So now, at least at the very least in this op, you would think there really would be no reason to tell Sean Ryan like anything. So at the very least, you would think like maybe they told the Shu guy, if at all. I don't know. This is kind of the nature of like an intelligence op, is it's like these people aren't, it's not like everyone's going to be in the know. So, but point, it still may not even be that case. But all right, either way, I'm kind of rambling a lot. Let's go ahead and get into this. Let's go to here. This is, I'm continuing on this thread. This is Ryan saying I was wrong to put up the thumbnail pointing to Sean Ryan as well. because he put out this this video a while ago when this first started. It was, and he made a thumbnail that said liars, pointing to Sean Ryan and the shoe guy. So it's wrong to put the thumbnail pointing to Sean Ryan as well, platforming the idea that President Trump's administration covered up a massive war crime in 2019 without hard evidence other than an email got the best of my emotions as a soldier. I won't do that again. I did want to kind of point to, I meant to go into this, but I got sidetracked. This guy is pretty blue pill guy. Like looking in this, he did bring up on the shoemate thing when I first was looking into like rebuttals against this shoemate guy. This guy kept leaning into like, oh, Russian propaganda, like that type of stuff. So he is that kind of homo. But I mean, but generally speaking, he seems to be not atrocious, like for example, he brought up at one point that shoemate supposedly got out due to the COVID vax. He was like, I get it, he's cool. My point being is it's kind of like, that's why I put him like center leftish, but he is kind of the guy that's like, if he's saying, oh, these guys aren't legit, and it's like, okay, but why? And you're like, Russian propaganda. It's like, okay, I need to look a little bit deeper. I'm not going to take your word for it. So that's kind of what I was getting at with this guy. So take a lot of his stuff with a grain of salt when it comes to this stuff. He made claims that Shoemate made some sort of other fake email. I never looked into the specifics of that, but he did kind of couch that in Russian propaganda. So I'm like, do you just not like the information? Either way, point being is, props on him, I guess, for apologizing here, calling these guys flat out liars. If I did say anything like that these guys are 100% bullshit or 100% ops or anything like that, then like I'm also, my bad. But I think it's also like one of those things where I said with pattern recognition, I wouldn't be surprised. So if anything, I kind of lean toward that being the case, but I'm definitely not at all asserting that with any of these guys. But let's keep moving. While I had the phone number of Matthew Livelsberger on 1/4/24, I was hesitant to talk about it because I couldn't confirm the email. Once Meta deleted Matthew Livelsberger's Facebook account, I knew the email was correct. Okay, so just to let you guys know, essentially this guy had the phone number, what he thought was the phone number. He wasn't able to confirm it. I don't have the picture of the email here, but a key thing for you guys to note for this is with that email, when it got released, it did have like the email header and like the email address it came from and stuff. So the idea being here is people are trying to authenticate whether this email did belong to Matthew Livelsberger. So this guy supposedly has his phone number. He wasn't able to confirm the email. So they're just trying to connect these things up. In this video, if you really are interested in all this nerd tracking type stuff, go to town. He's got the video in here. It was a decent little video. I don't really completely understand what the hell they did, but to some extent, I'll take their word for it. I'll defer them. Once the email was verified correct, I was able to find a Yelp review page from Matthew Livelsberger. From this Yelp page, I noticed his review of a business called Rest Float Solutions, which indicates that Matthew Livelsberger may have suffered from anxiety, depression, PTSD, and TBI, which the Rest Float, which is it's like one of those float tank things. So this would be like a therapeutic something or other. So this is a Yelp review from Matthew Livelsberger. It says, floating should be explored for anyone with anxiety, depression, PTSD, TBI, or behavioral issues. It's a great approach to therapy and can benefit anyone. Give it a shot. Prepare to try it multiple times to get comfortable and get the full benefits from it. Staff, equipment, and location are great. Okay, so then from there, he's kind of using the whole point. Obviously, for one, it's interesting. We found more about him. He's able to confirm this is something from him by using the collating all the information between the cell phone, the email, and using those things to be able to kind of confirm each other. He was kind of able to prove this being the case. This may be an indicator of what happened next. Based on the fact that special forces are highly trained in counterintelligence, it's unlikely that Matthew Livelsberger would have used a CyberTruck if he was being followed by law enforcement, which is a key point people brought up. 100% makes sense. There was one part of the thing in the email that people pointed to it being nonsense, is he alluded to something along the lines of like, I'm laying low, I'm being followed. And it's like, dude, you got a fucking CyberTruck, dog. Like, you're going to be watched. Like, it's not a great idea. Is essentially if you're trying to lay low, is to get a CyberTruck. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and then even just like it literally is taking pictures of you all the time. So it'd be the easiest thing in the world for someone to find you. But obviously, also with that Yelp review, there is where you talked about anxiety, depression, PTSD, TBI, kind of implies this applies to him, who is a 19-year Green Beret. Instead, I believe they specifically used the CyberTruck so his travel could be tracked and footage provided to content creators. No video, no content. The all-steel nature of the CyberTruck construction would have prevented mass casualties. So his idea, as he mentioned them being trained in counterintelligence, is that he kind of, almost in like a dialectical kind of way, like essentially anticipating the response, he did all of this. So, which, we're going to unravel this a little bit more. I mean, you kind of get what he's getting at. So, obviously with for example, with the Cybertruck, you get lots of good stuff that would really do well in social media. You get a lot of videos. You get, I'm sure at some point they'll probably release videos when it stopped to gas up, or I guess they don't gas up, or what, you get what I mean. Anytime it stops, anytime it does anything, there's going to be videos all over that. Elon Musk is going to be able to get all sorts of videos of all sorts of stuff that happened inside there. I mean, I still don't recall if we've heard back yet on what they had, because that was probably almost a week ago at this point. I would think we have heard something. Maybe I missed it, because I know there was still a big question of how he died, because there was a bullet in his head. So we still haven't, as far as I'm aware, we still haven't received any video on that. So now that I'm thinking about it, that's kind of shady still. But either way, all right, let's keep moving. Instead, I believe they specifically used, all right, blah, blah, blah. The email on its face seems to contain several conspiracy theories. Several that stand out are, and now granted, I do kind of roll my eyes a little bit when somebody like this guy, Ryan Macbeth guy, a guy who's heard their Russian propaganda type guy, that I see that and I do get instantly kind of miffed, but he's got a point. He does have a little bit of a point. If you understand what he's saying, is that that he might have thought that people could buy onto this. I'll be frank, I don't necessarily buy into this one yet, but he's got a point. Chinese submarines launching drones off the East Coast, which may be difficult for China to do since they would need to transit the Bering Strait, the Panama Canal, or the Strait of Magellan approaching from the west, or Cape of Good Hope or Suez Canal from the east. So that's what's one of them. The Chinese submarines off the east. This is where they're talking about the gravitic stuff, blah, blah, blah. Then allegations of war crimes, which would implicate the Trump administration in a massive cover-up. It doesn't make sense that 125 houses were bombed in Nimroz, considering the aggressive status of ISIS-K and N2KL/P2K, even with the UN report. To put that simply, essentially the idea is one of the things claimed in that manifesto is that there were some sort of war crimes that were covered up that, supposedly everybody and their mother was involved in. It was like CIA, DEA, the military, some other fucking, like a bunch of different, like supposedly, and a lot of the breakdown I've gotten from a lot of the vet bro community, and it makes sense to me, is that it didn't make sense for that era of the war. That wasn't the type of war fighting they were really doing at that point in time, and that is a lot of houses, so it just didn't really make sense at all. So I don't know. I haven't really looked into this one too much about the legitimacy or non-legitimacy of it. It does strike me as bizarre. I don't know what to make of it. I think that this email may have been engineered by a man who knew this narrative would be irresistible among some circles, allowing it to be platformed while containing enough inaccuracies in order to get the email in front of people who could do something about PTSD/TBI. The funny thing is about this is he actually kind of wandered into exactly like what I kind of thought it likely may have been from the beginning, but not with Livelsberger doing it, essentially. Essentially the idea being is like this email being engineered by an entity who knew this narrative would be irresistible in some circles, allowing it to be platformed while containing enough inaccuracies in order to get the email in front of people who, and then that would be the end of it. Like the idea being is it's some other entity that's essentially, I don't know what the end goal would be, whether it's a distraction op or what, or to obfuscate from what really happened. I don't know. It does still, but as that video up top kind of seems to imply that supposedly this email account was connected to all of his, email or his phone number, all the different, whatevers. And so it looks like it did come from him. Now that doesn't mean, someone didn't mess with it later. There still is the aspect of, which I believe Austin covered this for those who've only watched, I guess, my content on this. Austin's covered this recently, and it was one of the days I was off, so I didn't cover it. But he covered the whole safety number signal thingy. So there's also that too. Essentially, the idea is This Livelsberger guy, his safety number, which, I mean, I'm not a tech guy. This is thing on Signal, which is a messaging app for those who aren't familiar with it. Essentially, I think his safety number changed somewhere around the time he came back in the States, which I don't even know what it takes for it to do that. I guess it's odd for it to do that. So it changed once, around the time he got back stateside, I believe, which I don't remember the exact timeline on that, but it wasn't too long ago. Maybe like I don't really want to guess, but I'd say in the months or less time, if I had to guess. But either way, so then later the safety number changed after, I believe it was after he was dead. So it's like, what the hell happened here? So the point, the whole point with the first one is kind of like, well, what happened back then? So maybe someone did somehow hack into his things, or any number of other things that possibly happened. I don't know. There's so many things that could have happened in the meantime. My point being is like, I'm still not convinced that he sent the email. Perhaps he did. Just because it came from his account doesn't mean he did it. I mean, maybe some nerd out there is, screaming at the screen saying, of course, this thing or whatever. We know for certain. I don't know. I'm not a nerd guy. I'm just saying I would assume they'd be able to. I don't fucking know. All right, let's keep going. Navy people would go, the Chinese aren't off the East the Chinese aren't off the East Coast. Trump administration would say, we never covered up anything in Afghanistan. These people would then get the hidden message and could do something about vets with PTSD/TBI. And then the last one's, I got this wrong, jumped to conclusions and let my emotions take over. That's not going to happen again. No, he said, but these people would then get the hidden message. So his idea is that this was like, all of this stuff was to give it, was essentially like a genius move on his part, like an intel, like smart move, essentially like seed in, false information that, will give it wings, give it legs, and then, but also put in information that you actually care about. So that will, kind of amplify that one's message along that way. I don't know, maybe. I mean, I highly doubt it. It just seems unlikely. I mean, the idea that this is just for PTSD / like TBI, I don't know. It seems a very, very convenient narrative, but I don't know, whatever. I mean, maybe it is the case. This also could just be, I'm willing to believe that this was just some fucking dude who just went off the deep end. It seems weird because dude was like 19 years. So he's like, a year away from a pension. I know there's all the rumors we talked yesterday about his family life, what was going on with that. So I don't know, maybe it really just did completely crash. But even then, if you're a 19-year Green Beret and like, let's say your world does completely fall apart, like, because I know there were some weird things about what his DNA not matching the body found in the CyberTruck not matching the DNA of his child. So then it's like, are you saying it's not his kid? Let's say that is the case. He finds out that's not his child. He's still literally a year out from fucking retiring. So it's like, dude, you're like a year out from being done, and you're gonna have bank. I don't know. I get being depressed, and it's like, yeah, everything's over, but it's like, you're literally like almost to the point where like it's all over, and it's like, yeah, it sucks, but at least you're almost done, and then you're gonna be retired, and you can do whatever the hell you want at that point. I mean, yeah, you'd be bummed about your family and all, but I don't know. I mean, I do. I guess I can't also. I can't really. I have a hard time putting myself in the head of one of these guys because I've never done all these crazy things. I don't know to what extent that PTSD/TBI is really a thing. I mean, hell, I watched some Vet Bro video today where they were talking about how most of them don't even, they don't ever feel bad about anything they ever do, and they're kind of like, that's kind of a distinct thing about them is. So it's like, so the idea of like PTSD/TBI, he was kind of almost everything making fun of that idea. So I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's different for different folks in those, but. Point being, it just seems pretty convenient, but I mean, with that being convenient, it could just be because that's the case. But at the very least, I don't think this whole like PTSD TBI angle is it, but could be the case. People do irrational things sometimes. It's just so trying to backtrack later and try to figure out why this guy did what and when he did what. It makes sense. So I don't. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what he did. Backtracking from there. So. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and pop in the chat, see what you guys all have to say. Man, you guys got a lot in here. Man. Geez Louise. I am having to scroll back quite a bit. You got people talking about bacon and stuff. Jesus Christ, man. Y'all are going nuts. Man, I leave you guys for like 5 minutes. Come back. All right, here we go. Now I'm back to where the chat was at. Never seen this guy before, and now he's some intel guy. Whatever. He's got all the patches though. Watching CyberTruck lose at hill climbs has been a secret love of mine from Alan. Juturna can't even trust Vivek to flush the toilet, let alone with anything else. Well, that's, I guess, a good transitionary thing. We'll get into that in a second. I have a thread that we're going to go through. It's probably be the last thing we do. I had another thing on the order with that was one of Ken's pieces, but we'll probably finish off with the Vivek stuff. Maybe when I come back, I don't know if maybe I'll do one this weekend, maybe not. We'll see. But either way, I mean, I'll probably come back with that order one at some point. But all right, let's keep going through the chat. Ryan Macbeth used to be a good source. He took too many blue pills. Yeah, that's the impression I got. This is the first I've really looked into the guy, so I don't know. You would think that mermaids would put jellyfish on their peanut butter sandwiches, but I hear Pearl Jam is Ledbetter. Sup, Jose? I hope you're having a blessed day. Hope you're having a good day too, bud. Appreciate it. Yeah, he's also a fucking blue and on loser, though. Only a credible source on tactics. That's what Alan's saying on that Ryan Macbeth guy, still on war tactics specifically. Okay, fair enough. Man, you were smart. F-Web said you were smart. I signed up for 0311 Rifleman, the dumbest of grunts. Yes, I was in the Air Force, active duty for 11 years, and I was a crew chief. 6 of which years were in an ISO dock, which is like basically I did deep inspections. I'd say roughly about a year. I did wheel and tire. I had a couple little odd jobs here and there, like as a training manager for a little while, which just means I did nerd shit, like Excel spreadsheets of tracking everyone's fucking training. And what else? There was one other thing I did. Whatever, who cares? And then I was a normal crew chief, like a day-to-day, like daily inspection, launching jets, catching jets, refuel for a few years too. So, all right, let's keep going. Well, let's kill some time with this lispy faggot. Well, fuck you too, ERA 8118. But hey, whatever, good enough. I'm glad you guys like this lispy faggot. Are you guys just here just waiting for Austin to show up? Is that what it is? Did I trick you guys into showing up? Man, you guys are really arguing in the chat about something stupid, huh? I didn't even see what started. I just see you're saying you're gay. No, you're gay. No, you're gay. All right. Well, that's great. There's nothing really worth interacting with from my side of things. It really is just like just scrolling through. Just no, you're gay. And then someone, did you think he's gay or do you think he's gayer? That's literally what's going on there. Someone's saying, "What's the safety number?" I don't know if any of you guys know how to explain that in the chat. I will bring it up if you do. It's on Signal, I believe, is what it was. A Signal, which is a messaging app. I would assume it's some sort of number to verify it's the same number person you're talking to, or what. I don't know. I'm not a nerd guy. I just know that was a key thing, and it's very unlikely for it to change, essentially. Jose Antonio Barrio said another targeted individual that succumbed to getting pressed. I mean, it does kind of look like that. I mean, like, obviously he has all the elements there of like, these tales you hear, whether some are real or not. Someone who just snaps, and like the common one that's brought up frequently is the guy at the amusement park, the guy that like ended up, I believe, shot himself or whatever, and you saw like I believe writing in blood or something, and like something along the lines of like I didn't want to do it, or they essentially implying that he basically was likely about to do some sort of mass casualty event, and he just offed himself, and it was like he was being compelled to do it. I don't know. And you do hear like, so with this guy being military, all the different, I don't know, there's a lot of elements there. I'm like, I mean, obviously I'm not saying that is the case. That sounds pretty crazy, but it is like, man, if that was the case, it's like kind of lines up perfectly. The chat be wildin', they said, yeah. All right. Football players kill themselves from brain injuries, even shooting themselves in the chest, so they study their brains. Yeah, no, that's a good point. There's a good point to, I guess, to Macbeth's thesis, I guess, essentially here. So that, these people really do care about that type of thing. So I don't know. I don't know what injuries this guy undertook. I mean, I don't know what extent he really was dealing with brain injuries. I mean, aside from like dealing with like explosions or something, I don't really know how often you're really going to be getting brain injuries in battle. aside from being rocked by some sort of fucking IED or something like that. I don't know. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into. Maybe you guys can get along in the chat and stop calling each other gay. But let's go ahead and get into this. This is the last thing we'll be going into today, and then I will let you guys go for the day and release you to your teacher tomorrow, Austin Picard. Let me see. Here we go. This is from at ghost_lanes or Ugalolf. I don't even know how the hell you say that name, but anyways, at ghost_lanes. This is they're retweeting or quote tweeting somebody talking about something to the Vivek. I don't even think there's even really a point in reading the original post, but just so you guys know what was the starting point. And essentially it's referring to, so it says, that's straight from the CEO, not the FDA. Phase 1, 2/3 fails all the time. That results from phase 2A. Not to mention the company is no longer under Vivek's leadership. So obviously somebody's quibbling about, Vivek something or other, the businesses he's had. That's what's going on here. I don't know the specifics. I don't even think that even matters. That's just kind of a jumping off point for this guy. Because we're going to go into a big old thread and a lot of the different stuff he's been involved in. And this way you guys can kind of make, because I've heard people talk about this whole thing a lot, and I've never really dug into it. So I wanted to get a chance to go with you guys. We can all kind of form our own opinions, thoughts, etc. All right. It says, okay, let's state the case here. LOL. Vivek founded Roivant in 2014. Roivant received $100 million in VC capital from RA Capital Management. Managing partner Rajiv Shah, as well as Visium Asset Management. Okay, so that's where we're starting from. Vivek founded this Roivant company in 2014. Roivant received $100 million in capital from RA Capital Management, which is run by some other Pajit. All right. In 2016, 3 of Visium's traders were indicted for fraud, and the whole company was wound down. One of those indicted, Sanjay Valvani, was specifically indicted for trading on insider information on FDA drug trial approvals. He offed himself before trial. Sorry. All right. Okay, so then you see that there's an excerpt from a post, from an article of some sort. So hedge fund manager found dead of apparent suicide. Sanjay Valvani, the hedge fund manager who was charged with insider trading last week, was found dead on Monday in his apartment in Brooklyn, New York. So we have an insider trading that on when his stuff went tits up. So this is Visium. So this isn't even the initial one. So is once again you guys got to follow the ball here. Be careful, because we talked about Vivek founded Roivant in 2014, and then received $100 million. So we have Vivek's company, and then we have another company that gave Vivek money. It's $100 million VC capital from RA Capital Management, as well as Visium Asset Management. So these two companies gave this Roivant company $100 million. I have no idea how much each one gave, whether they both gave $100 million and maybe it's just worded weird, or together they gave $100 million. I don't know what. Either way, sounds like this Visium company, which is the company that this hedge fund manager was found dead, for after insider trading. Okay, sorry, and I just want to make sure you guys are following the ball, because it makes it sound like, because you would almost think, like, reading this, initially without really following it correctly, you might immediately think like, oh shit, this is one of Vivek's main partners or whatever. No, this is some guy. This is one of the traders. Which I don't even know how many. 3 of their traders out of how many? I don't know. But this is one of the guys. This is the one who gave a shitload of seed money to Vivek, essentially. All right, Roivant also received startup company capital from D.E. Shaw and Company, which has been outsourcing all of its IT work to India for ages. Okay, sorry, I was looking back at the previous tweet because I felt like I missed something. Okay, 3 after the whole company was wound down. Okay, sorry, I was just rereading that through myself. Make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, so they received startup capital from D.E. Shaw, which has been outsourcing all of its IT work to India for ages. Okay, I don't know, whatever. So now, so far, we have the outsourced to Roivant, received more capital from this D.E. So this is another place they got seed money from, and these people outsourced it to India. Whatever. In 2015, Roivant creates subsidiary Axovant to purchase the drug Interperdine from GSK to market for Alzheimer's treatment. He paid $5 million because Interpredine had already failed multiple clinical trials. So, okay, in 2015, Vivek's business creates a smaller business to purchase a drug for Alzheimer's treatment. I recall this is the one that a lot of people talk about a lot, so I guess this is the juicy stuff, I think. That's what I'm assuming. He paid $5 million because it had already failed its clinical trials. So, okay, they knew, or I guess I would assume they knew, because that's the reason why it was only $5 million, I guess, opposed to what it could have been. So in 2015, Roivant, which is Vivek's business, creates another business, a shell business essentially, and then they paid $5 million for a Alzheimer's drug that had already failed multiple clinical trials. Just so we're following. All right. Oh shit, 4. So 4 failed clinical trials, actually, not even just multiple. I mean, that is multiple, but you know what I mean. You hear multiple and you think like, I don't know, 2, maybe 3. Okay. His advisory board was full of washed up swamp politicos. It's surprising that Mattis wasn't involved. Okay, now let's look at this is an excerpt from an article. Using his connections and his confidence, Mr. Ramaswamy assembled a star-studded bipartisan advisory board. A friend from Harvard helped him recruit Democrats, including Miss Sibelius, Tom Daschle, a former Senate Majority Leader, and Donald M. Berwick, a former administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The Republicans included former Senator Olympia Snowe of Maine and Mark McClellan, a prominent former health regulator. So, by the way, it seems the impression I'm getting here, and I guess I've kind of gotten this elsewhere, and this is the same thing me and Austin talked about recently when it came to Elon. There's this impression that a lot of people try to give you, particularly when it comes to Elon and with Vivek, of what this person is. Like with Elon, that these are these genius businessmen that, and I'm not even trying to say that that's not correct to some extent, but it's not correct, I think, to the extent that colloquially people believe, essentially, if that makes sense. Like a lot of these, it really just seems like influence stuff. Like we'll see a lot of this is just money games. He bought this, bought that. He got the seed money from that person. And don't get me wrong, there's some skill and influence and finesse and all that is required to all this, but it's not what you were sold. This is a different thing. Like this is a game where people can be made, essentially. So, if you're someone, and this exact part of the, little bit of the thread that we read here with all the people for his board kind of gets what we're getting at here. Like this is all like, politically connected people to a ridiculous degree. So it kind of shows you what I'm talking about here. I mean, we talked about on Already Dead, where with Elon Musk and how he essentially, I believe he got seed money from some sort of, or I forget the method of how the money came to him, but there was like Jeffrey Epstein funded this or that, I believe was seed, that essentially was connected to seed money for different businesses but then he also went to training. Point being is these people are all clicked up. There's like this whole influence game that's going on. Like, people, essentially the world wants you to think that, like, say an individual like Elon Musk is like Nikola Tesla. That's not what he is. He is like kind of, to some extent, it seems like an intelligent guy with some interesting thoughts, but I think a lot of it is just kind of influence, and that's the name of the game here. And I think that's going to be the name of the game here going forward. That's going to be the currency of the future, is influence, and that's what these guys are working with. And and you know what? Especially with somebody like a player like Ramaswamy, he's a very likable individual, very smart, very knows a lot of stuff. But it's like us being sold that this guy is the ANCAP, I don't know, almost like the Javier Milei over here. I don't think so. And even then, there's people that have issues with Javier Milei, but you get what I'm getting at. I think it may be a little bit flawed, the perception we have him, what he really is. And he might be a great guy. I'm just saying, we kind of put these people on a pedestal, and especially after this tongue lashing he gave the American people about how they don't work hard enough and the culture and this and that. And you're like, dude, I mean, when you follow the money of this guy, like that he got from his family, this or that, and you know how a lot of his stuff is just IP, and how he like bought this company, like you're like didn't really actually like. I mean, for those who aren't aware, you know, if you're a libertarian worth of shit, you generally don't believe in IP. So I don't believe in IP. I mean, what like you're just buying the rights to other people's shit. It's like that's all you're. So he's just basically. I don't know, moving money around. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling here. Point being is I don't think he's quite what we were sold him as being. But he seems like a cool guy otherwise. I'm just saying may not be quite as simple. He took Axavant public via IPO before even starting another round of clinical trials for approval, driving Axavant valuation up to $3 billion, of which Roivant still owned 80%. That's when he cashed out by selling Roivant stock to Viking Global investors, but it was not a rug pull. In this excerpt from an article, it says, in an interview, Mr. Ramaswamy said he cashed out only to make room for Viking, not to hedge his bets ahead of Interperdine's clinical trial. We were forced to sell, he said. In some ways, it's a regret because the shares would be more valuable today if they hadn't been sold. Okay, so I guess we can take his word on here that it wasn't like he was a rug pull. He just, you know, he sold it, whatever. It's perhaps true the Roivant stock would be doing better. It wasn't public at the time, but certainly untrue of Axavant stock, which was. Axavant changed its name to try to reinvent itself, but ended up just dissolving in 2023. Okay, all right, so this is where it sounds like they're implying maybe a little bit of deception, or maybe it's just cope, who knows, is that when they sold out, he's like, oh, well, like, the main company, they're like, oh, well, I mean, we'd still be killing it. And you're like, no, okay, cool, yeah, you would, but the company we alluded to before, because Roivant's the main company, and then Axavant, which is that's like the subsidiary of Roivant that they used to buy that drug, it fucking essentially tanked. It essentially became no more. So maybe it was a little bit of a rug pull. I don't know. That's because Vivek ran up the IPO using his own mother's 2B trial results, who concluded that her data indicated moving on to phase 3 trials right before Imperdine failed for the 5th time in 2017. Okay, so this is kind of what I was alluding to with Vivek's mom. Vivek's mom's also involved in a lot of stuff, so obviously it's not even, there's obviously the Nepo side of this, which is, I'm not even like complaining about. Like, I think people should hook up their families. Like, I hope I do really well in this world and I leave something I can leave off to my children, and they do the same as well. So just, it's just, you know, one more thing that points to, like, it's not exactly what people are implying. So, I mean, he's got money with, you know, mom with huge seed money, helping him move this, do that, do this, do that, helping him do these fucking corporate tricks. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't even know, to be frank, I don't even completely understand this. Ran up the IPO using his own mother's 2B trial results, who concluded that her data indicated moving on to, yeah, I don't even understand what is being said here, to be honest. What I mean, her own? I don't even know what they mean by her data. Do they mean like literally she got a study done on herself? I'm sorry. I'm trying to interpret this to make sure I'm not just like, I don't know. Okay, well, because yeah, I don't even understand what they mean by like her data as opposed to other data. Did she pay for some sort of trial that, you know, favored her? I don't know. Either way, seems shady for sure. But that's all Axavant, right? Roivant owns other drugs. Surely I'm merely focusing on the glaring negative. Surely. And surely the years of massive losses are just a buildup of the revenue phase, right? And the losses didn't happen under, they did. So here's once again excerpts. It says let's start with the basics. Ramaswamy has funded his campaign through the sale of over $32 million in Roivant stock options in February of this year. Oh shit! So he was also using the Roivant stock stuff. So he's selling Roivant stock through his campaign to fund his campaign. Oh, that's interesting too. So that's another interesting component. All right. Well, so he was using the Roivant stock to fund his. Okay, well that's something. I mean, I don't know if that necessarily really means anything, but it's interesting that the company that looks like there was some sort of shenanigans. He was also essentially offloading that in order to transfer that currency into the new currency of the future influence. So, This could lead one to believe that Roivant, based in Bermuda, is thriving and that Ramaswamy is a great entrepreneur. Except the company reported staggering losses of $1.2 billion in its financial report of March 2023. This isn't a one-time slump. In March 2022, when Ramaswamy was still Roivant's chairman and a major shareholder, the company reported an annual loss of $924 million. Yeah. Well, I mean, and also the kind of the point why I'm mentioning with the campaign is it kind of implies he almost did like a pump and dump and then kind of rode that wave into the campaign, essentially offloaded that money and then, kind of essentially put it into a different investment in a certain sense, if you think about it. So I don't know, kind of interesting how these games get played. Ramaswamy's defenders may argue that Roivant performed better during his tenure as CEO in 2021, but alas, the numbers tell a different story. The reality is that Roivant's finances were abysmal under Ramaswamy's watch. During his tenure in 2019, the company's net operating loss exceeded $530 million. By 2020, the losses had doubled to over $1 billion, accompanied by 65% in revenue. A decline in revenue. For the year to September 2024, Roivant Sciences had an accrual ratio of 19.58. Statistically speaking, that's a real negative for future earnings. And indeed, during the period, the company didn't receive any or produce any free cash flow whatsoever. Over the last year, it actually had negative free cash flow at US $781 million, in contrast to the aforementioned profit of US $4.6 billion. We also note that Roivant Sciences' free cash flow was actually negative last year as well, so we can understand if shareholders were bothered by its outflow of $781 million. Having said that, there's more to the story. We can see that unusual items have impacted its statutory profit and therefore the accrual ratio. The good news for shareholders is that Roivant Sciences' accrual ratio was much better last year, so this year's poor reading might simply be a case of a short-term mismatch between profit and FCF. Shareholders should look for an improved cash flow relative to profit in the current year if that is indeed the case. All right. We got more. All right. All right. There's also the saga of the 501c3 entity Roivant Social Ventures. RSV is solely managed by its member Roivant, and which is pretty much purely geared towards increasing the number of Indians in biotech medicine. All right, cool. So now they're saying there's this 501c group that is an offshoot, that's essentially an offshoot of Roivant, which is called Roivant Social Ventures, and that's their big thing, is helping get Indians over here. So they literally have a charity that through this fucking corporation that benefits off of getting Hajis over here. They created a charity to get Hajis over here. That's awesome. That is just great, guys. And then they're getting, they're using the 501c3. Man, this really is such a scam. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys have heard like kind of my opinion when it comes to the immigration side of things. But man, what a way to like just scam. I guess maybe not even scam. I guess you're following the rules, but like scam the system. Because you're like you set up a tax-free entity to help move them, to get them over here. Then all these different. I don't know. I mean, I would recommend you guys go look into some of the arguments for and against the I forget what it's even called, the H-1B, the Indian immigration stuff. Is just wild. It looks like the tech bros have seemed to find a way to finesse the system to get fucking max Hajis over here. That's what it looks like. What to know? Roivant Social Ventures, which has a key tenet of ESG in its very name. There you go, ESG, was launched in 2020 when Ramaswamy was still the parent company's CEO. A prior incarnation was called the Roivant Foundation. So this is made in 2020. This is made in 2020 when he was the CEO. So, and it was fairly recently, 5 years ago. So I don't know. I mean, so people say he changed. Whatever, I don't know. He may have not had much to do with this anyway, so who knows? According to its website, RSV partners with and sometimes invest in outside companies and groups to help create systemic improvements to health equity. RSV takes a keen interest in building DEI opportunities for future leaders in biopharma and tech. All right, this group CEO, Lindsay Androsky, wrote a September 2022 op-ed for the LA Times titled, "Why the Lack of Diversity in Drug Industry Leadership is Hurting Women and People of Color." Okay, so this is like a DEI type thing. I don't know where they're getting the idea that it helps. I mean, maybe I read that into it, but yeah. Okay, it's geared towards increasing the number of Indians in biotech. Okay, obviously, maybe this guy's being a little glib here. Because, I mean, we did read that. I'm not going to read this whole piece, this whole little thing right here, whatever the hell this is. I don't think it really tells us anything. We have this right here. What is this? I mean, there are, yeah. Okay, they're just showing one of the officers. No, it's a Haji. That doesn't really tell us anything. Okay, I think this guy's being a little bit glib. Okay, this just seems like some sort of DEI type initiative. I mean, I don't know the specifics of it, but yes, it looks like they're trying to do something or other to help move DEI towards tech. Now, Vivek, of course, says he doesn't agree with the DEI measures of the charity he started while he was CEO of the company he founded, but in his 2021 letter to Roy Vaught shareholders, he's clearly aware of the differences between himself and Galison, new Roy Vaught CEO and currently director of RSV. So here's a little thing from him. He says, on a separate note, some of you may have noticed my entry into the sphere of public dialogue last year with multiple op-eds in the Wall Street Journal and other forums. I expect to continue to publicly share my personal views this year, including through the publication of my forthcoming book about capitalism and democracy. When I do so, I am expressing my personal viewpoints as a citizen, not Roy Vaught's opinions as a company. Okay, well, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, I guess I'll keep reading. Maybe there's something in there that was highlighted, so I'm assuming maybe there's something else in the rest of this that, all right, let's keep going. Nonetheless, we believe it is important to separate my increasing public engagement from Roy Vaught's day-to-day operations to avoid even the appearance of commingling the two, and we hope that today's announcement will add further clarity on this point. It is worth noting that Matt and I differ considerably in our personal perspectives on many societal issues. We are proud that Roy Vaught is a place where leaders with diverse perspectives can work together to achieve our shared goal of delivering important medicines rapidly to patients. Okay, well, he was using this as an example of kind of the globo homo bullshit, but honestly, this was weak. This was because he's trying to make out the point that, like, oh, he's clearly aware of the difference between himself and the new CEO, and trying to imply that he's like playing up his Hodginess, and I don't see that at all. He has one little line. He says, "We are proud that Roy Vaught is a place where leaders with diverse perspectives." One, he said perspectives. So he's not even like he's saying like skin color or anything. So I feel like it says more about someone else if they read it. I mean, it is kind of like a boilerplate, faggy corporate lingo. So I'll say it's gay. I'll give you that. But like, saying like using this to uphold your case that he's for DEI, I feel like says more about you than anything else. Here you go. In truth, he says, I think he probably doesn't agree with the ESG crap. He's just a Hindu maxer like all of them. Plus, Roy Vaught's investors are all the usual institutional suspects like BlackRock, Vanguard, Viking, that drive ESG/DEI anyways. Anyway, the point here is that the guy, QT the top, is a homeless naif. I'm not a hopeless naif. I'm not going to say Vivek is worthless, but digging through all this was eye-opening. There's a lot of Jeet scammer shit here, and I no longer support his involvement with Doge or Trump. Said, actually, I might call the OP an apology for calling him a naif, but that doesn't change my conclusion about Vivek. All right, he shared something else. I don't know what the hell that one's about. It might be something I'm missing the inside information on it. But yeah, I will. Yeah, looks sketchy. Is what it is. All right, let's go through the chat, and then we'll get out of here, guys. Let's see what you guys have to say. See what you guys thought. I went for a while there, so I figured, damn, man, you guys went for a while. Man, I accidentally scrolled back to where you guys are calling each other gay again. All right, I'll get back to it. Someone's trying to get beers, hang out with people. Let me see. Everyone's saying good morning, everyone. I'm supposed to be mad because a Bajit figured out how to play a rig game. No, I mean, like, to be fair, good for you. I'm just saying, like, maybe manage what your perception, because I think everyone has these god perceptions of Elon and Vivek, and as if they're some sort of libertarian heroes of some sort, like, the fucking some sort of Ayn Randian characters or something, and I don't think that's entirely the case. I think that might be a little bit of a... Sorry, guys, my hair looked all whack for a second. I was fixing it up. But, yeah, they're all just Rockefellers, you said. All right, I'm still going through to see if there's anything worthwhile. So here we go again. So that's exactly what he did. Pumped the stock, sold it saying he needed campaign funds, drops out of race right after that, and keeps the money. Okay, I didn't even think about the keeping the money aspect. I was just more seeing it as like kind of like a transferring currency from one spot to another. He literally is buying influence in a campaign. So, I mean, yeah. All right, we're being replaced, and the plebs are praising the false idols that are doing the replacement. I oscillate between forcing government to be fiscally responsible and saying "fuck it, collapse faster." Yeah, I totally sympathize with that. Jose Antonio Barrios say, anytime we do anything, we are all participating in psychological operations, wittingly and unwittingly. We are all also participating in troubleshooting operations, hyper game theory, medical test dummies, public relations stunts. Yeah, no, you're correct. All that good stuff. Did we stop trying to distract Jose from Robin Zabrat? You guys still do it. You still get me. You still get me occasionally. So props. Not today though. But yeah, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, I guess. Clinton tears right now. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he really gives a shit. It says Bobo says I wanted to like Ramaswamy. Something just didn't feel right with me. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. I mean, like I'm like kind of generally positive towards him. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't trust anyone really. Ramaswamy seems like kind of cool, kind of, but I feel like we would have him if I had him on the show or something. We'd have a great conversation. Seems like a cool guy. I mean, maybe he just did some kind of shady business shit, which whatever. I guess to some extent I get it. You got to make that money, baby. I mean, it is what it is. Just I don't know. But then don't then later try to fucking, I don't know, be all high and mighty. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get out of here. I do want to let you guys know if you want to support what I'm doing over here, you can do it over that patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. The highest level is my sponsors. I read the sponsors off every episode, but I do want to remind you guys what happens at the lower level. The lower levels where you get that early stuff. For example, I have dropping tomorrow an episode I did recently with Broth, where we touch on satanic neo-Nazi Fed stuff essentially. So that should be a fun one that you guys can check out. But that'll be out tomorrow. If you're a patron, you'd already have it. Also, at the $2 level, you can be a talking head on me and Austin's our show Already Dead, which is on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. The second half of the show is a call-in show, and you can come and call in as a video call-in if you are a patron. And the highest levels, my sponsors, read them off every episode. My co-host and Tower Gang, at Tower Gang Toad. Also have at EbbergateDees, at ZOVERACK, at _Infinite Zeal. Then I have Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, and Will Bell is Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine. Then big fan of the show, Torin May. Then also at INWARD Lover, at Inward Lover. We should all learn to look inward and love ourselves. So hell yeah. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button, all that good stuff. Like. If you're on a audio podcatcher, go give me a 5-star review. Go give Austin a 5-star review, depending on where you're doing this at, or both of us. Just fuck it, just do both of us. But yeah, with that, guys, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. Yeah, thanks, Jose. Have a good day, boys. Yeah, see you guys. Bye. Deuces.